really, the thing about the Scottish and the Welsh seem to have kept a real grip of their identities, and with the English, I think because we're so much more mixed up, that we tend to sort of have forgotten it, and it's almost become politically incorrect to feel like that. The reality is that you end up having that heritage stolen from you because people are frightened of appearing politically incorrect. It's about your heritage and how you feel about things. Being proud of being English, like you should be proud of being anything.
I admire other cultures. I love the Scots culture, the Irish, the Welsh, the European cultures, Eastern European, Western Europe, doesn't matter. I admire those cultures, but we're in danger of losing our own culture, and that's why we dance.
These folk don't wish the Scots ill, far from it, but they're striving to clarify their own English identity, which could add to the strain upon the Union, although it has survived 3 centuries without fracturing. Back in Scotland, back in the Royal Mile, where the images of identity are everywhere, I talked tartan with kilt expert Hugh Statham.
What is it? I mean, kilts are getting really more popular again. Is it nostalgia? Is it?
I don't know if it's nostalgia. During the 60s and 70s, I believe kilts weren't that popular at all. But then, really, from the 80s, they've come on, and now it's very unusual, for example, to have a wedding in Scotland where I would say 95% of the guys weren't kilted.
Yeah, I'm usually the odd one out because I don't have a kilt, unfortunately. Well, I'll have to get that sorted. Folk are making a statement, aren't they? They're saying to the world, I'm Scottish. I'm Scottish. Look at me, I'm Scottish.
Certainly, Scots people have an awful lot of pride.
Yeah.
So the rising tartan tide coincides with a growing grievance among Scots that their political wishes were being ignored. It's about confidence, identity, self-belief. But again, that pride is much more than outward show. It translates into public policy. Consider this. As First Minister, Jack McConnell wanted to tackle the problems that bring Scotland down. Chief among these, smoking. Fearing that people would defy the ban on smoking in public places, he made a calculated appeal to Scottish pride.
Well, I think if the smoking ban had been imposed from Westminster, there would have been widespread resistance. I think there would have been people blatantly breaking the law. Whereas, although there were threats of that, and there were suggestions that it might happen, actually because of a feeling of, I think, national pride in the ban, and an acceptance that the National Parliament of Scotland had made that decision democratically, then when the ban actually came in, everybody in Scotland accepted that it was there and it was right.
In 2003, during his self-imposed exile, Alex Salmond witnessed the moment he believes the Scottish Parliament grew in stature to speak to the soul of Scotland, to echo the voice of the street.
I was sitting in the House of Commons, I turned on the Parliament programme, and there was the Scottish Parliament debate live on Iraq. And I started to watch it, and I was absolutely transfixed by the quality. There was a speech from George Reid, which was an absolutely wonderful speech.
It's about a new world order. It's about the Cold War being over. It's about the world's only superpower being determined to impose its own order of preemptive strike and Pax Americana.
For me, it was kind of a bit of a turning point. I mean, I saw then, when the Parliament got to debate a big issue, then people would make big speeches, big points, kind of coming of age almost.
Alex Salmond had insisted he would never return as party leader. He duly returned and went head-to-head with Jack McConnell in the 2007 election. Again, the core issue was identity. Who most identified with the Scots? It was a battle for the soul of Scotland.
I heard a rumour. I think we won the election.
By definition, Alex Salmond's entire pitch is based upon Scottish identity. He says he won the election by standing up for Scotland and has maintained that stance in government.
People don't elect a government in Scotland to stay quiet when Scotland's interests are at stake. They expect their government to speak up for them at every opportunity. Now, I'm quite happy to do it politely. I'm delighted to cooperate in anything and everything where it's possible to cooperate. I'm happy to acknowledge where gains are made, where solutions are found, for example, in the vexed question of human rights and prisoners in Scotland, and making sure that seriously bad people didn't get lots of money at the public purse, where we could make advances. But, you know, when Scotland's essential interests are at stake, then I shall speak up for all I'm worth, and I'll continue to do it, and I will not be apologising to anyone for doing my job.
All of which presents us here in Scotland with a choice. Do we need independence to express our Scottishness, or can that be happily accommodated within the Union? Now, we're not alone in wrestling with this type of issue, so let's look elsewhere. Let's look abroad at two different places offering two very different solutions. Firstly, the independence option.
I've travelled north to a nation with an ancient history, a small European nation with a rich cultural heritage, patriotic, set in a sea of oil wealth, and for long dominated by its larger neighbours. Welcome to Norway. Come to Oslo to experience Norway's National Day. Colour, camaraderie, a family event. Can you imagine scenes like these replicated in Edinburgh for Scottish independence?
This parade commemorates 1814. In that year, Norway's colonial masters, Denmark, they were on the losing side in the Napoleonic Wars. Norway saw her chance, framed a constitution of her own, and this parade is Constitution Day. But was that independence? Not quite. As the war drew to a close, European power brokers handed Norway over to Sweden.
A further century went by before Norway became fully independent by breaking the link from Sweden. They borrowed a Prince of Denmark, gave him a Norwegian name, and so formed their new royal family.
This is a costume from the south coast of Norway, where my mum is from.
Yeah. Well, it's nice to dress up like our forefathers and mothers.
We only do this once a year, and sometimes weddings and so on.
What's it saying about
it tells you where you come from.
Yes.
What does this day mean to you?
Oh, it's everybody's happy and we celebrate our country, so yeah.
Does it make you feel proud to be Norwegian?
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's just perfect to be out to see all the people, and yeah, I'm proud of the country.
Is it all just one big party, or is there underlying significance? For the answer, I turn to an authority on Norway's identity. Thomas Eriksson says by choosing independence, Norwegians were liberating their national soul.
it's not really been a history of oppression or of ethnic discrimination or racism or subjugation or that kind of thing. We've been treated well by both those neighbouring countries, so it's not so much a matter of that. But it's very much, I think it's very much about the sense of having one's own identity and wanting to accede to full independence for that.